My name is Adam Steele. I'm a communication student at Juniata College, and for as long as I can remember, we have raised Doberman pinschers here on Steele Farm, a little 10-acre farm in Huntingdon, Pennsylvania. These dogs have been a part of my family. Spending time to train and talk with them was something I learned from my father. Today, there are 3 Dobermans on the farm that I have had a role in training. Blue is the oldest Doberman on the farm. He is 9 years old and the alpha male of Steele Farm. He is the first puppy that I trained. This is Buck. He is 6 and the second dog that I trained. He spent more individual time with me when I lived in Texas. Then this is Toby. He is the puppy, about 7 months old, and I have just recently began to train him. When I started nonverbal communication with Dr. Lynn Cockett this semester, I saw my Dobermans in a different light. The ability to communicate with my Dobermans is something I take for granted, but I couldn't help but see how my nonverbal concepts take place at home with my dogs. I became very interested in the function of nonverbal cues in communicating with dogs. For the purpose of this teaching video, I have collected video data for everyday interactions with my Dobermans and then analyzed the footage. Today, I will teach you a little bit about the human and domestic dog communication, then analyze the role of nonverbal elements, specifically nonverbal communication conveyed through the face and through the body. Some dog owners say their dogs understand them or know what they want or think. Others say they can understand their dogs and that dogs are capable of conveying their needs to their owners. Scientifically, though, do dogs and humans communicate? The answer is yes, but it is only recently that scientists would agree with you, because once dogs were viewed as mindless primal animals, produce meaningless barks. However, research today, including that of Adam McCloskey, shows humans are able to decode dog barks much like understanding another language. Dog owners were able to match various barks correctly with corresponding situations that evoked emotions such as anger, fear, happiness, and despair. Not only do we understand what dogs are saying, but research today proves dogs have evolved to uniquely read human communication. Dogs are one of the only species sensitive to human-given communication signals, as exhibited by varieties of studies testing communication skills of chimpanzees and dolphins. They are especially sensitive to human cooperation communication, says McCloskey, most likely as a result of thousands of years of domestication. Dogs are able to infer the intended communication of a human via iconic signs such as replicas or photographs. Julian Kaminsky, a cognitive psychologist at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Leipzig, Germany, studied how trained and untrained domestic dogs have the ability to retrieve desired items via the expressive use of replicas and photographs. The domestic dog has the ability to comprehend human linguistic symbols. I notice most commonly, domestic dogs rely on human nonverbal cues for communicative information. Dogs get this information primarily from nonverbals, specifically our faces and our body movements. Humans rely on faces for nonverbal cues. According to Knapp and Hall's textbook, our faces are used to facilitate and hit responses in daily interaction. Parts of the face are used to open and close channels of communication, complement and qualify verbal and nonverbal responses, and to replace speech. As you can see during our game of fetch, Blue refuses to lose eye contact with me. He even positions himself, and might I say, looks a little anxious. Buck, always attentive. This dog requires human contact and looks constantly to the eyes for guidance, as shown here. Our emotions are expressed through our faces, as we are too primates. You may have noticed a friend being upset, even though they say they are fine. Inconsistencies are picked up non-verbally, and the face is one area that humans pay attention to. We have reason to believe dogs, like humans, look at our faces in order to gauge our emotions. In studies relating to how humans read emotion in the face, the term left gaze bias was coined, revealing a unique phenomenon. While viewing faces, human participants often demonstrate natural gaze bias towards the left visual field. That is the right side of the person's face, is often suspected first and for a longer period. Another study by McCloskey used eye tracking software to compare the eye movements of dogs to that of human beings. The results concluded that domestic dogs demonstrated left gaze bias only towards human faces, but not towards macaque or dog faces, nor symmetrical object images. This proved that not only do dogs follow our left gaze bias, but they can also tell the difference in pictures of when and how to read a human face. During this session with Buck and Blue, I chose to suppress my nonverbal cues as much as possible. You can see during my session the extreme attention they paid towards my face. It is most visible when I consciously tried to have a blank face and avoid eye contact. You can read the confusion in both Blue and Buck's body language when they can't access my face for something to complement and replace my verbal cues. A study by Comiskey found that domestic dogs can even comprehend the direction of our gaze as an informative gesture of direction. The tricks that I have implemented with my dogs is sitting, giving their paws, staying, and waiting for food. The use of my eyes as an informative gesture is something I implement at later stages, as hand gestures seem more noticeable to puppies. Let's now examine their attention to our body in reference to gesture and proxemics. Dogs pay specific attention to our body gestures for communicative information, most commonly through pointing gestures. Dogs are actually able to perceive direction from our point, unlike any other animals. Not even our closest relative, the ape, can infer the meaning behind our pointing gestures. As I slow this down, it becomes more clear that besides basic pointing, other specific gestures are easily learned and interpreted by dogs, like my sit gesture. Body orientation is another factor we must mention. Looking at this footage, playing fetch shows just how much the dogs rely on body gesture to know where the stick is going to be thrown. The analysis of my training has shown yet another importance of nonverbal communication. As you can see from the video, much of the human-dog communication paradigm relies on their access to our nonverbal cues. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.